For this week's quarantine story time, I have mittens. For this week's quarantine story time, I'm a chicken. With a chick. What sound does a chicken make? Cluck, right? Cluck. For this week's quarantine story time, I'm telling the story about how I almost went to jail. What you mean? Jail? Huh? Yes. To jail. Yep, that's right. Jail. At 17, I thought I was grown. Couldn't tell me nothing. I just wanted a little bit of freedom, okay? Because remember, there were no parties. I grew up in a Christian home. A strict Christian home. Okay? There was no staying out late, no underage drinking, no sex. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button below. The subscribe button. Subscribe. And be the first to see brand new content when I post. You never know what onesie I'm gonna have on, I promise. It's always a show I'm trying to tell you. It's always a story I'm trying to tell you. The year is 2007. Summer 2007 to be exact. A young, fine. There was nobody hotter than this, okay? With a capital N. I was fine, okay? Was and still am. Shoot. Melvin and Bertha didn't make no ugly kids. I still look the same. Green. Impressionable, but talented me. 17-year-old me. The summer you graduate is typically supposed to be a lit summer. It's supposed to be a summer of goodbyes, hellos, preparation for military, preparation for college. Well, for me, I had other plans. I was preparing to go to New York. I had decided that fresh out of high school, I was going to move to New York and pursue music full time. I didn't know where I was gonna live. Didn't care what I was gonna eat either. Didn't care. I just wanted to do music. No questions asked. And in my heart, I felt like I could do school anytime. But for now, let's get to this music. However, coming from a background where everybody has multiple degrees and you come up talking about, oh, I'm gonna pursue a career in music, that wasn't gonna fly. And also remember, I was a preacher's kid and a preacher's grandkid. And you talking about you gonna sing R&B? Ho! They wasn't having that. Now let me reiterate, I was never a bad kid, just very misunderstood and overprotected. I wasn't ready to go to college fresh out of high school. I came home one afternoon and the conversation went a little something like this. Melius, hey Pop, what's up? You got an acceptance letter today. Oh, for real? From where? From the prestigious South Carolina State University. Where's that? Orangeburg, South Carolina. Yep. Orangeburg, South Carolina. So then I was like, what's that? And in my head I was like, in the middle of nowhere. In the middle of nowhere. Orangeburg, ice cream flavored island? What is that? Then my dad continues to say, well, me and your mother decided that's where you're going. So in my head, I'm like, you're sending me to this uncharted area for school. I wasn't having that. Well, anyway, the conversation continued like this. Well, had you been more prepared in filling out applications, we wouldn't have had to fill them out for you. Now, around the same time, I had received an acceptance letter from Clark Atlanta University. And because my mom is an alumni of Clark, I figured I'm a shoo-in. And by me attending Clark, that eliminated the out-of-state fees. So technically, financially, it made sense. But I went through extreme measures to make sure that I didn't attend South Carolina State that fall. And that there is how the drama unfolded. So once again, I had a plan. And a damn good one at that. Or so I thought. I had made up in my mind that I was not going to anybody's South Carolina State University. So throughout the course of the summer, I slowly began to take things out of my room and move them in with said person I was dating at the time. I'm surprised my family did not notice that things had started to slowly come up missing. Or maybe they noticed and nobody ever said anything. Well, my parents went out of town one weekend to go see my grandparents, and while they were away, I moved the last little bit of my stuff out of the house. I was working overnight at Target at the time. When my parents got back in town, my supervisor came and grabbed me and said, yo, Rambo, you got a call. It was my mother. That call went a little something like this. Melvin, where's your stuff? I'm moving out. Moving where? I'm not with this South Carolina State business. I want to do what I want to do. I'm going to New York to pursue a career in music. I don't think I've ever heard Bertha that quiet. In life? In life. In life? In life. So after hanging up with my mom, it was time to make another phone call. I called back at the time to come scoop me from work. And let that be your last day at the white and red circle. Cause you cannot just quit in the middle of your shift. No unemployment for you. Well, anyway, I get in the car when I say that was the toughest night to sleep. That night, my phone rang off the hook. Non-stop. I was getting calls from everybody. Advisors, preachers, family, friends, and the like. If there was a world record for the shortest time to fill an inbox, I got that. That inbox was full of hey within the hour. Well, eventually I drifted off to sleep, but when I woke up the next day, I woke up in a nightmare. Not only was the police in the front yard, but so was my mom and our family preacher friend. So in a state of panic, I found myself hiding in the washing machine. So the police shows up at the door and he's looking for me. They looked all through that house for me. Kitchen cupboards, in the bathtub. I bet you they looked in the Bible on page 36. I don't know why everybody was looking for me like I was on America's Most Wanted. I mean, this is America. And yes, I am wanted. And it's probably illegal to be this hot. But I ain't did nothing to nobody. And eventually he found me hiding in the washing machine. Gratefully, it was a police officer I knew. Because baby, had it been anybody else, they would have shipped me off to YDC. Our dialogue went a little something like this. Listen here, son. I understand the situation. If you were 18, I would have no choice but to leave you here. But because you are still 17, you gotta go back home. Now, I'll give you an ultimatum. You can do this your way. You can either go home or I'll take you to jail for 2 weeks. And then when you turn 18, we release you. Y'all know what option I went with, right? Baby, I said take me to jail for them 2 weeks because I'm not dealing with this shit. I was determined I was not going to South Carolina State University. Well, needless to say, Bertha wasn't having no parts of that. She said, get your in this car. We went right on back home. The quietest ride home. My mama was so quiet, you could hear me. My mama was so quiet, I could hear the rocks we were passing trying to cry out in my place. I couldn't say nothing. I was slick scared because I didn't know what was going to happen. But I also felt like a complete idiot that I let it happen. So we pull into the driveway of my parents' house. My father was not pleased. The look of disdain and disgust. But the gag was, they had packed all of my and it was in the back of the van waiting for me. And off to Riverdale I went to stay with my uncle for a few weeks until it was time to go off to school. When I tell you the hardest 2 weeks of life, there was no phone, no internet. I was real life on death row. And eventually I ended up at South Carolina State University. Isn't it funny how we say we're not gonna do something and then we end up doing it anyway? I ended up having some of the best times of my life. Met friends for life, partied hard first semester. Barely went to class. And my grades reflected it. And life eventually went back to normal. At least until I was held at gunpoint and almost lost my life being jumped on by a football player. But that's another story.